He expressed warnings to others of a force so menacing and unbeatable, it could only be described as supernatural. He called them ghosts.
Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is my Call of Duty Ghosts Veteran Difficulty video walkthrough. This is Mission 3, No Man's Land. We are now moving out into the outer reaches of the isolated zone where conflict has left it pretty much ruinous and extremely dangerous, which I think is a really cool notion. And this fountain here is, I think it's the same statue on the cover of a Devil Wears Prada album, which I believe is quite a famous statue in like an American city. I'm not too sure. I think it is a landmark from some place, like Seattle or something. I don't really know, but I know I've seen it before, and I know it's quite iconic. So I don't know if this is trying to insinuate that that's where we are, because it does mention geographically where this place is kind of set, but my geography when it comes to America is hilarious, man. You give me a map and tell me to put the states on, and you'll have hours of fun mocking my ignorance. But this is a pretty cool mission, this one, for more than just the fact you get to control the dog. It's one of those really thematic levels which has got a different pacing to the standard Call of Duty fare. And I thought there was going to be more of this. I thought there was actually going to be scavenging and recon missions, and I thought you might spend quite a large portion of the game out in the wastes, you know, doing guerrilla tactics and stuff. But it turns out you really don't. After this one and a couple of other missions that have a slightly different pace to them, it's all pretty standard Call of Duty. You know, run and gun, linear sequences, Michael Bay, kill everything, you know, America, fuck yeah kind of notions. But this is Riley anyhow, and I can't remember what they said was the reason why you can do this with him. I believe it's something to do with the backpack he's got on that somehow feeds into his cortex or something, maybe. But I suppose you could just say, through the powers of science, you're able to control him directly. And I don't think you can do it at will. I think it's only during set sections. That being said, it might have come up on the D-pad and I didn't notice that I was able to do this. Because a lot of the times when there's, you know, chopper gunners, sentry drones, things that you can use to clear out a mass amount of enemies, I get so caught up in shooting and doing the, you know, aiming and shooting galleries that I don't realise I can use the ordnance, which is a detriment because it definitely makes things last longer than they should. But this early sequence is introducing you to the concept of running attacks, to stealth attacks, and just to how he controls. And if you're in grass with him, you're pretty much invisible, it seems. There's an achievement on this level for killing a certain amount of people with the dog. I think it's 10 people. I did not get it in this guide, mainly because I didn't know if it wanted me to kill them. When a game gives me the option to be stealth, I kind of think I should, you know, make concessions with my playstyle so that I can actually try and see it through. But the biggest problem with a game like Call of Duty is, as much as it'll try to do a stealth section, the stealth moments are usually so linear that the game really doesn't function at all as a stealth game. There are just certain scripted environments where stealth is allowed to happen. And it's more so guided by the developer's hand than the actual player, which is a bit of a shame, because if there was the option to go through the entire game without being spotted, I think that would be a really interesting thing. But with that same logic, how different would the game have to be? Because pretty much about 70% of this game is, oh my god, shit is kicking off, bombs are going off, planes are flying over, something is on fire, you know, shoot for all you're worth, and once you finish shooting, throw a few grenades, run through the smoke and continue to shoot. So it'd have to be a testament to really intelligent game design to pander to every audience, and I don't think Activision needs to do that, because these games sell so well and are so well received by the people that buy them, even though it is kind of hip and kind of cool to be the contrarian and have the polemic argument of, you know, Call of Duty is shit, you shouldn't buy it, and the people that do buy it are the dredges of society because all they're doing is funding the machine that allows it to perpetuate itself. Which is, there's some truth to that, as douchey as those people generally come across as. But I think this game has done a lot of cool, different things. If you're wondering whether or not to buy it on a next-gen system or on a current-gen system, I have a definitive answer for this one, and that is do not buy it on the current gen. I really can't recommend it, and you might be asking why, and the answer is very simple. The next-gen multiplayer assets are tailored towards a bigger player count that does not exist on console. For some reason, the console does not support ground war or any of the 9v9 encounters. And you might be wondering, well, why is this? And I'm wondering the same thing. The maps are now bigger than they've ever been on the multiplayer. You would think the higher player count would make it a joy to fight in them, but instead it makes it feel like Battlefield on 6v6, where you run around for large periods of time unable to find people. It's really bizarre. It doesn't feel like Call of Duty at all, and I've only played a handful of games, but it feels kind of weird. And that's probably completely remedied on the next-gen consoles because you're running around with, 12 versus 12 or whatever the player count is, and it makes the maps feel like battlegrounds as opposed to cemeteries where every so often you meet at a Burger King to shoot each other. Just really, really bizarre. So definitely wait for next-gen. Cannot recommend current-gen. I haven't played the Extinction mode yet, which I know a lot of people are excited about, myself included. I can confirm you have to beat the campaign to unlock it, because I unlocked it when I recorded this guide. And yeah, if you're one of the people that plays this game for multiplayer, which is pretty much everybody at this point, if you're going to put some serious time into Call of Duty, it has really never been in anything but multiplayer. Cannot recommend this on current gen, because it's more a game of hide and seek than it is a game of gun skill, which is really sad. That being said, though, they've improved a lot of stuff. I have to give Infinity Ward props for what they've done. They've introduced a new co-op feature, which is fantastic. I haven't played it, but just the notion of a co-op feature is amazing. I think their games really needed it because Spec Ops just wasn't carrying them anymore. I still don't know why there's never been co-op campaign outside of World at War and maybe Call of Duty 2. I can't remember if that one had it. Every single part of this game, you do it with people. You run around with NPCs who you're supposed to get attached with, that all they really do is get in your way, and you shoot them more times than you shoot the enemy because everybody looks the same in a completely non-racialized way. Why the hell can they not be your friends? These games are crying out for it. Halo has had it since it began. Co-op seems to be this forgotten thing in modern military shooters, and I just don't understand why, because everything's better when there's more people. Everything. Even bad things are better when there's more people. It's just the laws of human nature, and these games have always screamed out for co-op, and they just haven't had the treatment. So the Extinction mode is a cool feature to have on there, along with sliding down hills that you can't really control, because it kind of does it on its own. That's a decent feature, I guess. But also the squads that they've introduced. So this game works completely different to the ones before it, where instead of creating a class and customizing a class, you customize a soldier. And a lot of people are thinking, oh, it's just cosmetic, I don't care about that kind of shit, I don't care what colour hair my dude has, or what his gun does, or if he has a swastika for a red dot sight. You probably don't care, but it's not like that at all. It's completely different. The creator soldier aspect is your class. It's a much more complicated and complex version of creator class with unlocks and all sorts of madness. And the really cool thing about it is you don't just need the multiplayer, or you can use other options other than just multiplayer to develop your character, develop your soldier. And they've introduced the squads feature that they've been advertising, and squads has a bunch of modes which I haven't had a chance to mess with, except for one. I tried out war games before while I was waiting for some footage to render, and it was essentially combat training from Black Ops, but using your multiplayer progression. So you were leveling up, you were getting experience, you were online, the maps were cycling and like they do when you play in standard multiplayer. And I was like, this is really cool, this is something I've been wanting for a very long time. And I was fighting against AI and having a good time and what have you. And then when I looked into the multiplayer menus to see what was in there, see if there was anything new, I noticed that I'd kept my levels So everything that I'd unlocked in the squads mode carried over directly to multiplayer. So now they've opened it up for people who, like myself, have trouble with connection, have trouble with, you know, getting the friends on at the same time to party up and everything. So they've enabled you to play the game and play the multiplayer with the progression system, with the leveling, in any situation you want. They have a fantastic game mode where it's you versus one other human player and a team of bots each. And the bots are literally the characters that you create, which are essentially the creator classes. And you can equip your bots with whatever setups you want that complement each other and make your team really good. And you can compete against other people's teams. And obviously it's one human versus one human, but there's also a highly capable team of bots. And the bots are great. You know, even on Recruit, the easiest difficulty, which turned them into retards on Black Ops, on this game, they camp. The bots camp. I've never seen anything like it. They push the objective really well. They move a lot more like humans. They drop shot. They do all sorts of weird things. So I can see myself having a lot of fun with that mode when, you know, when I keep getting shit lobbies where I can't kill people because my guns don't work. So for somebody like me, that is really exciting news, and it's just that extra bit of, you know, oomph the game has to invite you to play it. So as much as a lot of people are going to give this game shit for being the same thing every year and tell you to buy Battlefield, even though Battlefield is surely turning into Call of Duty 2.0 because they're releasing it every other year and trying to compete, I want you to try and look at this game for its merits and not necessarily for the prejudices that you might have against the series. And that's a firework, and this is Bonfire Night, so I do apologise if there's any more. But this sequence in the game, when you're stealthing, there's only one time where I was ever in any danger of being spotted, and that's when you exit the pipe and there's two guys. So just be careful of that, because I did get spotted. I did have to restart the checkpoint because I got killed. So just a heads up. And this is our first glimpse of the antagonist in the game, as he tortures this ghost member. But there's a handful of other modes in that squad section, which I'm really interested to see what they're all about, because they sound kind of cool. There's like squadron mode, which I believe is, is it secure mode or lockdown? I can't remember. It's got some kind of buzz name, and it's essentially survival mode. And I thought survival mode in Modern Warfare 3 was a piece of shit. I thought it could have been so good, and they somehow managed to just extract all fun out of that kind of game mode. It was really disappointing for me, because I really like Call of Duty, and the campaigns, once you've played them a few times, you know, it's not the same. You want that gunplay, you want that control, but you want to do it in an environment where you don't have to sit through cutscenes and scripted sections. And if you're having a bad day on the multiplayer, or your internet's decided that you can't even compete against other people, you know, there's nothing you can do but play a different game. And now with these options, and now with survival mode that they introduced, it gave you the opportunity to play the game in a different environment, but it just so happened to be really restricted and designed by an idiot. So that's making a return, and I'm hoping that they've changed the things that I hated, because I don't understand why the kill streaks worked the way they did, why the enemies were stacked the way they were, why it was only 2-player. You know, there was so many limitations to it. And this is coming from a player that likes zombie mode but doesn't think it's this messiah that a lot of people do. Like, I thought Transit was shit. I really did. I was so excited for this notion of a really big, open-worldy, progressive, multiplayer zombie map, and when it came out, it just turned out to be linear as balls, but connected by a bus. Really disappointed with that. This is weird too. You randomly get attacked by wolves, and I don't know if you can stop this wolf from getting on you, but I believe it's meant to happen like this so you can have this moment with Riley. A couple of sequences in the game where it gives you a pistol like this, it doesn't let you aim down the sights, so if you try and do it, sometimes you'll take too long and you'll fail, so be careful. It just doesn't make any sense. Why do all the wolves run away when he shoots his gun, but they didn't when I shot mine? Doesn't make any sense, that. But then again, looking for sense in Call of Duty is not really the smartest thing to do. But I didn't care at all about this game, and it's really strange, folks. I didn't care whatsoever. You know, I knew I was going to cover it for a walkthrough. I knew I was going to play it, and I knew I was going to enjoy it because I always do. But I wasn't stoked at all. I had no interest in it, and then it's here, and I've played it, and I'm really excited to get back on. I'm really excited to see what everything is, and to tust and test it. Didn't even say those words right. That's how excited I am to touch and test everything. You know, just excited to get in and play, and I'm hoping that the dedicated servers on the multiplayer can make even my pittance of a Sky connection, you know, compatible and competitive, because I want to get back into the multiplayer, and I want to bring more multiplayer content, because it's been absent from the channel for a long time. And I do know that there are people out there that have been with me from the very beginning that watched this channel for Call of Duty, and I haven't really serviced those folks, which is a bit of a shame from me, but it's just the nature of the beast when it comes to, you know, when you're not interested in a game, you don't really play it. And I'm not the type of person that earns enough on YouTube where I'm forced to play a game even when I hate it just to continue to get that paycheck, which to me sounds like hell. It sounds like, you know, the complete opposite to what you really want to do on a website like this. But you'll notice I'm using the AK-12 with a red dot on it. This is the AK-47 equivalent in future times, or whatever this time period is that we're in, this kind of Homefront-esque vision of the future. Really like this gun. It's powerful, it's got deceptively low recoil at the best of times, and it fits well with the red dot. The red dot is nice. I have no problems with the red dot, no problems with the iron sight. It's everything else I have problems with. You'll notice that whenever the game gives me a sniper rifle, I generally don't take it. I'm not a biggest sniper fan in Call of Duty. I just never really liked it, except for in Call of Duty 4, which is a completely different story. But a lot of the times when the game gives you a sniper rifle, it generally means you're going to be fighting at long range. So I picked this one up to see what it's like. I couldn't even see anybody then, so I just fired at a wall to see if it'd do anything, like wall bang or something. But no, my team's shooting, but I have no idea where the enemy is. So as normal, you want to clip as best you can. If you're unfamiliar to the term clipping, it can mean a few things. Clipping on geometry is generally when you're trying to move around a surface, but the game is kind of trapping you because there's just a little bit more of an invisible edge to the corner you're trying to move around, and thus you get cock blocked on it, and a lot of the times you'll die when you're trying to back up, and so on. Another definition for clipping is when you literally put your head to a neck-high wall and shoot over it, because on these games your bullets come from your head, and when you do that, the only thing that is visible is your head, and you can shoot people and they just have a tiny target to shoot at. It's known as head glitching and a few other things, but you can call it clipping too. So you want to always try and do that as best you can in every first-person shooter, because it means that you are the minimum amount of target and you get the maximum amount of range for dealing damage. On a game such as this, the spawns are kind of random. You'll notice when I pushed into this corridor, there was two fellas to my left that kind of just ran in front of me. If you push forward too aggressively, spawns will happen on you. It's happened to me. So you want to be really careful, and just remember, whenever you're having a lot of difficulties, put a little bit of distance between you and the enemies, throw a couple of flashbangs or grenades, you know, get your bearings, and it's really not that bad of a game. It's not very challenging, but it's fun, and sometimes that can be enough. It isn't always, but where this is concerned, I had a lot of fun with this game, and I hope you have a lot of fun with it too. And I hope you have a lot of fun with the guide. So, thank you for watching, and you take care now.